You tweeted a guideline to Rationalist Discourse, Basics of Rationalist Discourse from LessWrong.
Mm.
What are these folks? What's the rationalist culture? What's the Rationalist Discourse?
Yeah, I love the Rationalists because they're interested in like how do you have conversations more effectively if you're trying to figure out what's actually true, and which sounds kind of obvious, but in practice it's not usually. I remember when I first started having debating conversations, I was very antagonistic. I'm like, oh, I'm a feminist or not a feminist, and then the Rationalists were generally like, actually, we don't know what we mean by the term feminism. Let's like, how do you feel about that? It was very like kind and compassionate. Like even if somebody says something that sounds insane, you're like, okay, well, we're going to respect your reasoning, and like even if we disagree, let's actually figure out why you think the way that you think. And they're also really smart, write a whole bunch of great stuff about how to think more clearly and with less bias.
Yeah, I wonder what those conversations, because I've never really like talked to those folks. So this guideline in particular, I think, has to refers to like shorthand characteristics of rationalist discourse, including expect good discourse to require energy, don't say straightforwardly false things, track for yourself and distinguish for others your inferences from your observations, estimate for yourself and make clear for others your rough level of confidence in your assertions, make your claims clear, explicit, and falsifiable, or explicitly acknowledge that you aren't doing so or can't, and so on and so forth. So don't jump to conclusions. Yeah. Don't weaponize equivocation. Don't abuse categories. Don't engage. It's very aggressive guidelines. Don't engage. I do what I want. I'll let my emotions guide me. God damn it.
They're pro that as long as you're explicit about it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So you can be like a crazy asshole as long as you're explicit.
Yeah. You can be like epistemic status, crazy asshole.
Yeah. Who's here to destroy the quality of the conversation.
Yeah. I think it's like the common misconception about rationalists is that like they're kind of like Spock. We suppress emotion and we're thinking logically herd eater. But I found this to be really not the case. Like, I remember there's a LessWrong thread where I was like really emotional and I commented, and at just the beginning I was like, just warning, I'm just very emotional, and then I just vented my emotions, and people responded really well to that. They're like, cool, like you're just genuinely, truthfully expressing your state. This is actual information about the world that is important to hear, and it's just they're very interested in having things framed correctly. Like you shouldn't be claiming that your emotions are necessarily a true version of the world, and so as long as you're just clear about what the frame it is, you're fine.
How do you feel about this conversation? What could we have done better?
I like the conversation. I was a little worried coming in. I was like, what if he only asks a couple questions and then we don't know what to talk about?
Yeah.
But it's been quite a long time.
And I covered, there's so many things I didn't cover.
I like you have I'm not used to talking to somebody who feels like some of the core way that they approach the world is so different than mine. Yeah. Like usually the difference is that arrive like higher up the tree, but like there's something about like your root system that I think is very different from mine. Yeah. But also the way that you engage with others is still flexible. Yeah. Like usually when I encounter somebody with such a different root system, there's like, it's like more aggressive or something.
Yeah.
But there's something about the way that you're structured that feels very gentle.
All right. Well, I'm really happy we talked. Something tells me we'll probably talk a bunch more times. I think you're a fascinating human being. I think I'm a huge fan of your work. Maybe one more question. What's the meaning of life?
To want things, to search, to be in.
Well, I think your curiosity is like somehow getting to that.
Yeah.
To want things.
Because like with curiosity, like you don't know. I want to know the answer. To like be in the state of yearning.
Of wanting, of yearning.
Yeah. That's the
I wonder
point.
if you could do that if you lived a million years. Just keep yearning always. That's the thing I'm probably afraid of if I lived a million years. It's not the torture. It's like the yearning will fade.
They probably yearn to die then.
I was just sitting there wanting death intensely.
That's kind of romantic a little bit. It has like a bit of that spark.
And constantly being denied. Wow. So most of your existence on earth would be spent deeply intimate with death, just thinking about death. I think we're already doing that, but like hiding that from ourselves a little bit. Anyway, wanting. Well, this is an amazing conversation. I think you're an amazing researcher and human being.
You're a great interviewer. I can see why you do this a lot.
I appreciate it. This was really fun. Aella, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Well, thank you.